All right, gentlemen. So today in this video, we're going to talk about selection criteria and why this is one of the most important things that you will ever do in your entire dating career, your entire dating life. It is one of the most overlooked things in dating. It is one of the most important things for men and women, but definitely for men to do because women kind of inherently do this. At least a lot of women do. Some women even keep written lists of the guy must be XYZ. Um, and there's a whole layer of that I would love to comment on later about why women have wildly unrealistic expectations for most men, but um, especially young modern women tend to have some pretty wild and unrealistic expectations. But without getting into other territory for today, the purpose of this video is to talk about how and why to build selection criteria. So, first thing that you want to first thing we want to address is what is selection criteria? Well, as the name probably implies, selection criteria is a list of conditions that someone must meet in order for you to further consider them. It's the exact same type of thing for a job, like a recruiter or a hiring team looking to hire someone for a specific role. And it is the same for like people. Often when people are voting, there's a lot of different data on how some people have very high selection criteria for voting, like for a politician, but other people have very low or no selection criteria. They just kind of go with what their gut tells them, and they're really not thinking about it with their prefrontal cortex. They're thinking about it with their limbic system, if you know what I mean, the emotional side of their brain rather than the logical, rational planning side of their brain. But anyways, selection criteria is all about having specific conditions that someone must meet in order for you to consider them for a role or a position, or in this case, your girlfriend, your fiance, or your wife. So when it comes to building male selection criteria, there's a couple reasons that it matters, and then let's get into like the specifics and a couple real life examples. So it matters, number one, because there are billions of women throughout the world, but first of all, there are billions that don't speak the same language as you. There are billions that don't speak English if you're watching or listening to this in English. There are billions of women who would not catch your eye physically and meet your physical bodily selection criteria. And four, there are women who who would be a great fit for someone else, but would absolutely drive you up a wall and make you feel like, super stressed out all the time. Or as though, you guys just don't understand one another. That's why it's important to have selection criteria, because it narrows down the list of people who are potentially good fits for you. There are thousands, potentially millions, probably millions of women on dating apps right now, but probably only a few thousand to a few hundred of those millions of women are actually a good fit for you. And here's why that is. It's the four things that I went through. It's like geography, language, body type, and personality. Those four factors alone would probably reduce the pool to a few thousand, maybe a few tens of thousands. The second reason that selection criteria is super important is because you have to have the same goals and values as someone. It doesn't matter how hot someone is, it doesn't matter how great of a body she has. It does not matter. Trust me. I've been on some pretty interesting dates with some pretty attractive women, and if their values do not match yours, it does not matter, because if you're looking for anything more than like things that you shouldn't be looking for, which include one night stands and, flings and things like that. If you're looking for a serious relationship with a serious person, their values must match up with yours. If they do not, it does not matter how attractive they are, how nice their voice sounds, how anything they are. They will not work with your life, and your life will not work with theirs. You cannot force someone to have the same values and goals as you do. If you do, either she will cave and she will end up resenting you because you'll be forcing her to, do something that you don't want to do, or that she doesn't want to do. Or the other way will happen, which is probably more common, by the way. It's more common that men tend to be caving and changing their values or their goals, or the lack thereof, for the sake of the woman that they want to be with. And it is critical not to allow these things to happen with anyone that you date, because it will push you into a place of great frustration and confusion, and you will end up wondering why you got yourself there in the first place. You might, if you end up doing that, you might look back weeks, months, or years later and realize, oh yeah, I'm with her because she's hot, but we don't actually have anything that matters in our life in common, like where we want to live, what we want to do, maybe the type of family we want to create, the type of lives that we want to be accountable for. The other reason that a selection criteria is crucial as a man is it filters out people who are like a bad personalities fit. So there's like the really serious stuff in life over here of like goals and values, and then there's the other like very similarly serious and important stuff of like personality fit. If you are like a total beach animal and you love being outside and you love surfing and going on the beach and stuff like that, and she likes the mountains and cabins and woodsy things and introversion and stuff like that, those two things don't necessarily go together. There's a lot of different people out there. I'm not saying that you can't find someone who's similar to your level of uniqueness, but the more unique you are, the more unique the other person is, the more you either have to account for that within one another, or you have to accept like, hey, this type of person just is not me, and I am not this type of person for them. So without further ado, so those are the three things. It's the four main factors. Again, geography, language, body type, personality type. There's goals and values, and then there's personality. And all six of those factors are critical. But you can and should get even more specific from there. You should be looking at things like what kind of hair color am I into? What types of physical features and characteristics more specifically? Do I like someone with large lips? Do I like someone with like more thin lips? Do I like someone with a very rosy, glowing complexion? Am I into goth chicks, someone very, very pale looking? Do I like someone who's black? Do I like someone who's Asian? Do I like someone who's Hispanic? Do I like someone who is, do I like someone who's white? Do I like someone who is Native American? Like whatever it may be, like all the different millions and billions of people throughout the world, there's beautiful, amazing women everywhere. And it should not, don't discriminate. Like have the freedom to like find and discover great, beautiful women everywhere. You might be surprised you might find someone who's physically beautiful, but they turn out to be a poor values, goals, and personality fit for you. You might find someone who is really tight on goals and values and you're super synced up, but you're not physically attracted to them. You have to be patient enough and good enough to yourself to recognize that there's so many women out there that there is the right combination of features and characteristics for someone, and in someone for you specifically. So don't sell yourself short thinking like, oh, I should, just because, she has this going for her, but I don't like this, then she's not for you. So don't fall into that trap. But definitely know who you're after and what you like and what you don't like, because trust me, there's all different types of women everywhere, and there is someone out there who's a good fit for you. She might not be who you're expecting. She might be from a different country or culture or landscape than you would have anticipated, but she's definitely out there. The next thing to account for in your selection criteria is a list of like personality traits that you would want to go for. again, if you are an introvert and you like someone and you absolutely need someone to be like low key and introverted like you, then be okay with that, because there's a lot of introverted women out there. And the same goes for extroversion. If you're a party animal and you love to get after it, you like seeing friends and family and going out every weekend, there's nothing inherently wrong with that either. You should be excited to do that and to be that with someone who's a great fit for you. There's a lot of extroverted women out there too. The next thing is to think about, this is really important, and it's really important as a man to be like leading this charge and to be like understanding what you're all about. Women, especially good women, are looking for like leadership type men. They're looking for men who can really like take charge and live life with purpose, and don't and men who don't hold back from giving their best every single day. If you are a dude who's not where he wants to be in life, that's okay, as long as your leadership mindset and attitude comes through when you talk with her and when you take her on dates and interact with her. Women will far more respect a man who is like doing what he needs to do to go where he needs to go, than someone who's just resigned in their life and like doesn't know what they're doing and why, and is just kind of going through the motions and following someone else's orders and all that stuff. Women really want and need to respect a man who is respectable, right? They need to be able to look up to a man who doesn't take crap from anybody else and is willing to make the hard decisions that bring his life to a place of like joy and abundance and strength and certainty and power and uh, integrity and like consistency, right? Like these are all great, amazing things that a man should be embodying for his girlfriend, his wife, his fiance, ideally someone who you date and then marry, right? You should know. So the reason this is important in your selection criteria is you should know where you're headed, and you should know what kind of woman you want to bring along with you. You should not be just looking for someone who will prevent you from feeling lonely, or someone who is going to keep you distracted until someone else better comes along the way. You should never be like talking with someone if you're just interested in talking with them for the sake of it. You should be talking with someone because you genuinely want to get to know them better, and you trust that they want to do the same. That there's something about being able to go forth into your life with a woman by your side, someone who believes in you, someone who is counting on you to follow through. There's a very like, if you spend time thinking about this woman, there's a very specific type of person who will fit that characteristic for you. Like all those characteristics, not just that one, but like the whole spectrum. And if you're doing those things, if you're living with that level of purpose and integrity, that woman will not only stand out to you, she will somehow find her way to you, right? Like you will connect on a dating app, you'll find each other at some sort of event, you'll meet each other through your social networks, something will happen, and that level of like purposefulness and just living with like the gusto and the vigor that a man should be living with, it's amazing how that unlocks opportunities and opens doors that you never would have seen opening years ago or even days ago. It doesn't have to be like years ago, but when you set out with that level of intention and purpose, that is what it's all about. Those are the things that start to happen in your life. So those are like the principles of selection criteria. And if you write everything down on paper and you decide like this is who I'm looking for, this is what I'm all about, it will be amazing like how quickly that type of stuff comes to the forefront for you. It will be amazing how quickly and easily you start to have conversations with women on dating apps that fit that criteria, because you're no longer wasting time with women who would have never been a good fit anyways. You're starting to talk directly to women who are like, this is what it's all about. this is the type of woman I've been looking for. That level of just like owning your opportunities and owning your life is the path to finding the woman that you've always wanted and attracting the woman that you've always dreamed of. So I hope this video was helpful. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you've tried any of these selection criteria principles before, what kind of results you've had, or if you're starting it for the first time, tell me more about the type of woman you're looking for, and I wish you all the success in the world.